This is an experiment of doing a live at home, which I've not really done before. And I'm going to see if am I actually currently live on my channel. But yes, I'm planning to. There we are. I'll make sure I'm muted, otherwise it'll double feedback. Yeah, I'm planning to go through my old sketchbooks. This channel was supposed to be an art channel. It was supposed to be a channel which was about hiking and also about art hiking, so hiking and art. And the art kind of fell by the wayside, which was sad, really. Partly because my partner died, and when my partner died, I stopped painting and I stopped drawing. I was kind of stopping before then, but it was getting more about hiking, and I'd take the gear and I'd take the watercolors and these things. I take all my pens and watercolors and all that stuff, and then I wouldn't use them. So I lost a lot of confidence, and then I lost all my confidence when John died, which was nearly 15 months ago now. So I've not done any drawings or paintings since then. My last painting was his coffin. That was actually up on Facebook, was on YouTube and Twitch, and they pulled it down because I was playing music in the background, and yeah, it was a bit sad because that was actually quite good. I can't really show you because obviously the coffin went up in flames, but it was my last painting was that coffin. So I wanted to show you some of my sketchbooks and my artworks, and maybe, although I think I'm going to need a lot of moral support from you lot, and I might try and do a bit of a drawing, but it'll be something abstract. It'll be something simple. It won't be anything representational this time if I do it, but we'll see. I'm actually feeling a bit crap, so I might not do it. We'll see how long this stream goes for. So hello everyone. I've got 2 people in. I don't know if anyone's commenting. I'll just say hi. I've got my computer down here. And hopefully you can hear me. I don't know. I'm using the DJI mic, which is a recent purchase. Copying Molly, Camping Rules OK. But it did seem to be working earlier, but it sometimes, let's have a look. It's solid green, so hopefully it's working. Although annoyingly, I think I've got the mid-side thing, so it might sound a bit weird. I should have set it for mono, really. Yes. Yeah. Hello, Catherine. I know about the 6-7 thing, having a godson. So yeah, 6-7 is meaningless. I'm not going to swear. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. But yeah, okay. Let's see. Let's show you. And of course, we hit a problem. Yeah. We immediately hit a technical problem. Right. This should be upside down, but I can't be upside down because you would see it upside down. Crap. Thank you. Yeah, this is one of my A3 pieces. I did this with paint sticks. These are paint sticks, which are and it's actually done. It's of a tree, so it's that's one of my paint stick paintings. I did quite a few paint stick paintings. It's supposed to be for kids. Hi, Kuza. They're supposed to be for kids, but they, you know, I had a lot of fun with doing them. So yeah, I used to do a lot of portraits as well. I used to go to a lot of portrait sessions. So. And I did a lot of landscape work, so it's all. Maybe start at the beginning. I might have to disconnect the microphone and reconnect it. I don't know if this is going to work. This could go very horrible. Can you hear me? Hi, it's not me. See if we can get this into the tripod. And that is my partner. This is the person who died. And I did lots of paintings of him and drawings, and you'll see work from him. And this is an oil painting. Done from life. That could have been better. Thank you, it's not me. And hello, On Gamer. Yeah, I used to do a lot of oils. I used to do a lot of oil work. He was literally sitting just over here on the couch, which is all covered in stuff at the moment. Yeah, I did it from life. He kept moving though. The reason why the hands here aren't very good is he kept moving, and I got so annoyed I stopped painting it. You can earn lots of money for all your paintings. Sadly not. Sadly not. That's the art market for you. So I've shown you that one. Sadly not. I used to be a professional artist. And yeah, I've sold work, but not that much work. This is a bit, let's try this. Move that down a bit. Yeah, as I say, I used to do a lot of portrait work. You've seen that one. And ink work. Catherine, you already asked me to say 6'7". And I know what it means, or I know what it doesn't mean. I know it means nothing. So this is kind of ink and wash work. This would be from fountain pen. So this is fountain pen and wash, ink wash. I did a lot of that work. And that's the same, but with watercolour. And that would be graphite sticks. Well, they're a type of graphite sticks which are water soluble. So water soluble graphite. But yeah, can you actually hear me? Because I had to reconnect the microphone. I hope you can actually hear me. But yeah, I did actually try and become a commercial artist. Unfortunately, COVID happened and I had my exhibitions, and so they all got cancelled. Yeah, more paint stick work. I say don't just do paint stick work, but you know, this is I did a lot of paint stick work at this point. Yeah, she was wearing a very extravagant headpiece. Yep. This one I was quite proud of. I'm not sure. Is this? I can't work out if nude paintings are against toss. It's art. It's art. But yeah, it's probably against terms of service. So maybe not. I don't want my channel to get into trouble. Because I bet you anything artworks are probably trouble as well. I'm sure it's depictions as well. It's so weird how people get really funny about, because I used to do a lot of life drawing. Yep. I used to do a lot of life drawing, and people used to get really funny, even me posting them online, and it's ridiculous because it's not actual pornography. But yeah, I've forgotten how much of this is going to be life work, which could be a problem. Nope, not that, please. Try not to show the life work, because as I say, we'll get into trouble probably. I was regularly going to a few kind of sessions locally, which was like, there was one in a pub which was doing portraits, and I was doing that's his ink and wash work. This is just ink and brush. So and there was also a Japanese one where they had like a vase and wall hangings, and she was wearing a kimono. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to edit out the nude stuff, annoyingly, unless someone reports me, which they probably will do, because we can't have nice things. This was an odd one where I did a portrait session with someone dressed as the Joker. It was Halloween. It was very strange. Okay, a bit random. That's a bit random. Some of them are quite quick sketches. I was proud of this one. Some of them are like 5-minute sketches. So they are very sort of loose and rough. I mean, this would be like for 10 minutes. But as I say, I did more representational stuff. So how is everyone? I haven't gone through these since I did them. I stopped working, as I explained in the intro. When my partner died, I stopped drawing and painting, so I haven't looked through these in about, must be at least 3-4 years. Yeah, mixed bag. A mixed bag. Yeah, I really like working with the I try to remember that name of these really chunky crayons. Lira crayons. Let's turn that to all chat, because I'm not sure I'm seeing all the chat. Yeah. This is all. Oh, not that. I'm getting into trouble. Yeah, that's the kind of landscape work I used to do. I used to do a lot of ink work. And things like that. That's a tree, I think in Richmond Park, I think, in London. And I live by the river, so I do a lot of, I used to do a lot of boat paintings. I think this is it's fountain pen, and I think that might be, what's it called? There's a sort of a coloured graphite. Derwent do like a coloured graphite. It's I forget the name of it at the moment, but it's like it's basically a bit like pens. It's a bit like the stuff you find in water soluble pencils, but in like little pans. And so you can use it like that, and it looks a lot like it. It's a very flat colour. Thank you, John Lacey. So I did a lot of work in that. I can't remember the name at the moment, but yeah, I've got several sets of it. And like pencil, you can actually rub it out. So I think all these had to be fixed. And that's a kite hanging in a tree. That's in Bushy Park in London. So yeah. Or portraits. Those would be a few minute sketches, ink sketches, or sometimes I would start one and then jump to another. So it would be kind of like I probably did. Yeah, I would have done that in one sitting. So like the sitting, sort of the pose might be like 10 minutes, and so I would do like that, and then go and do a quick paint stick piece. And that's my more representational work. I used to do a lot of flowers. Again, I think that could be watercolour, but I think that might be the Derwent water soluble graphite stuffs. So yeah, I used to draw and paint every day. I want to get back into it, but it's, as I say, when my partner died, he was my biggest fan, and it was very sad when he died, and it kind of, I was already kind of doubting my sort of talents, because I'd struggled to sell stuff, and so I was already concentrating more on the hiking videos you can see on my channel, but I was trying to do art at the same time, but I got more interested in the hiking, and so the art sort of dropped away. That's more Lyra. The water soluble graphite sticks. They're really good, actually. I like this one. That's a quite good one. I like that. That's fountain pen and wash. I would kind of like draw it first, and then use usually a water brush, and then actually use the lines that were already hadn't dried yet as sort of as a wash, and sometimes just almost like splatter the paint on and use it as a quick wash. I know what that is. That's Richmond. I think that's Richmond Park, and that's Bushy Park. And that's on the river. Probably there's a lot of rowing on the river where I live in London, and so I've done drawings of the regattas and not canoes, all the rowing boats and stuff. Yeah, talk about more about boats. That is in Kingston, I think. river work. That would be probably more fountain pen, and then possibly ink and brush, or maybe the brush pen. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, that's Box Hill. So I said in my videos that I do a lot of work at Box Hill, and yeah, again, that's the Derwent graphite stuff. I'm trying to remember the name of it at the moment. I can't remember. I should Google it, but not at the moment. I love drawing people sort of in their sort of quiet moments along the river. You get people who, especially in the summer, who just sit there. And there was this girl who was just sitting there on a mobile. I was very fascinated by the fact there's this wonderful scene in front of her, and she was actually had headphones on and was actually using a mobile, and wasn't really paying much attention to the river at all, which was a bit strange. But more paint stick pieces. More, yeah. Random. But yeah, I did whole finished pieces in my sketchbooks, and yeah, it was. You're not really supposed to do that. You're supposed to do it for sketching, but I liked doing kind of like finished pieces in the, you know, whole things that weren't preparatory for other things. This is more of a sketch, where it's like I think someone had capsized in the river, and I drew that. I did like drawing quickly as well. Yeah, stuff like that. You're not really supposed to do in a sketchbook, really. I had problems. I was always trying to use different ultramarines. I never found the happiest ultramarine, but yeah, that's one of the dodgy ultramarines. Don't know why I did that. That's some sunglasses hanging on a log. I was fascinated by stuff like that. So how is everyone? No, that's not a bad one. Not sure what that is. Sometimes I have a very direct memory of where I did something, and sometimes not at all. Thank you. I don't know how to pronounce that. GU1NJ, saying beautiful artwork. You're very talented. Thank you. And thank you to all the people saying nice things about my paintings. Again, I think that's the Derwent. More river stuff near me. I live on the river in London. Or not on the river, near the river, about 2 minutes walk from the river. So during lockdown, I was doing nothing but river pieces. Just for a long time, I stopped drawing the river because it was just, I did 100 days of just drawing the river. That was a bit much. Yeesh. Portraits are difficult. That's not a good one. Yeah, that's Kingston Bridge. I've done quite a few pieces of Kingston Bridge. Oh, actually, no, I think that might be Richmond Bridge. Is that Richmond? No, that's Richmond Bridge. That's Richmond Bridge. Kingston Bridge doesn't have this. Nope. Don't show those. I bet you anything YouTube would have a problem. I'm not totally sure why I was drawing lots of rabbits. There must have been a reason. There must have been a rabbit. So I only work from life, so there would be these would have been from rabbits in real life. So I don't know. Must have been a pretty tame rabbit. Now you can probably guess what that is. Oh, it's the Houses of Parliament of Big Ben. And there's some abstract pieces. I did a lot of abstract pieces. Don't know if it's that way around or that way. I think it's that way around. Yeah, it is. Don't ask me how I know. I just do. I used to do large abstract acrylic pieces as well. Whee. Yeah, like that. Though again, pretty sure it's that way. This is the problem of doing this in vertical, is it really should be in landscape, because most of my work is actually in landscape mode. This is some of the hiking drawing I used to do. This is the Jurassic Coast. I think it might be near Weymouth. Yeah, it is. It's a wreck near Weymouth. Yeah, no, that could be better. Hi, Keith Tower. Well, it's Keith Stewart. Keith Stewart. I'll get it right. Keith Stewart 5565. Which one did you like a lot? What, this one? Back two more. Oh, you mean the previous lot? You mean these? That one? The discussion with portrait and landscape. Yeah. Don't know which one that was. Thank you, Jim Box 2805. Yeah, whatever happens, don't lose that pad. Great sketches. Thank you. It's I don't intend to. My sketchbooks. I've had people try to buy pieces off my sketchbooks, and I'm like, no, because they are kind of a document of a journey. So yeah, I'm hoping that doesn't violate YouTube TOS. This is the CERN Giant Yeah, which yeah, it's ancient art. It's not anything rude. But yeah, these are very much from a journey, and I wouldn't take anything out of this sequence. I did that in a rainstorm. I did that on a rainstorm on a cliff. It was ridiculous. And that's near Abbotsbury. Do you have any other trips planned, landscapes in mind? Says Keith Stewart. I got other trips planned for my hiking channel. I don't plan to do any drawing or painting as yet. I might do if I get back into it. I will try and live stream it because I would like to. Yeah, this is that's Seaton in Dorset. Is it Dorset or is it Devon? I can't remember which one it is. But yeah, I kind of miss it, but then again I don't. It was a lot of, certainly to try and do this on camera. Sometimes, well, when I started trying to do it on camera, was a lot of pressure. Whereas when I was doing this, I wasn't trying to film it. I wasn't doing a YouTube channel. I just started doing the YouTube channel. Yeah, Junebox says, "Is this a hobby? Are you professional?" I was a professional, and I stopped. You know, it was. I went to art school, and then I stopped painting for 26 years, and then I restarted again around 2018, and started doing it more seriously. And then what happened is, around lockdown, I was trying to make it my business, and my exhibitions got cancelled, 2 of them in a row, because of COVID. I sold a few things, and I was trying to sell things online. I did have a portfolio site which is down at the moment, and then it just I got more into doing the YouTubing for hiking, and the idea was to do this while I was hiking. But I got more into doing the hiking and did less and less drawing, and then my partner died, and I just completely stopped. Yeah, this is in Lyme Regis. I always like this one. That's the view of the cliffs opposite Lyme Regis, and yeah, I think that's. That looks like I'm using white with watercolour. That's the Cannington Viaduct in Dorset. There was a campsite, and this is my tent. There was a campsite right by, right underneath it, right by it. Sadly, it's not there anymore. They closed. But it was an amazing place to camp. Sadly, you couldn't get this was closed. You couldn't get onto it, but yeah. So these are around 2020, I think. Or was it 2023? I'm not sure. I actually remember 2023. Actually, I think it's 2023. Actually, no, it isn't 2023. It could be 2020. But I did so much work on these trips before I started the YouTube channel. Did lots. I did like 10. I think one trip I did like 45 pieces. But it's a lot easier if you're staying in a campsite, as I used to be able to afford to do. It's kind of easier to do sort of to do this sort of work. It's harder when you're actually wild camping and hiking, because you just have to carry all the gear with you, and it gets difficult to find a good site that you can camp at and draw. Interesting. And thank you, Jimbox, saying keep going. Keith Stewart says, have you painted the Karangan sky? I have hiked the Karangan sky, yes. I have walked over it at night. I love the Kerang. I went to Skye in the must be about 2006 or 2009, something like that. And I accidentally walked over the Kerang at night. Well, kind of, sort of at night. It was going dark, and I was walking back to, I think, where I was camping, and it got very late, and luckily I was on the road, because it just got very misty up there, and I loved it, but it was so remote up there, and I loved the Kerang. That was a long time ago before I actually started I was drawing again. Yeah, I was taking a lot of photographs though. I have photographs of the Kerang. I've got photographs of dead sheep on top of the Kerang and the hut circles, and I lost I had a cap, I had a baseball cap, and it actually blew off on the top of the Kerang. I never found it again. Yeah, that's New Orleans, Orleans House, not New Orleans, Orleans House in London. And yeah, I used to do a lot of swan studies. I like drawing. These are all done from life. Trying to draw them like as they move around. It's always tricky. Geese and swans are difficult to draw at the best of times, but when they're moving, yay. Those are more geese studies. Sorry, swan studies. Yeah, more portrait work. I think I know where that is. Eel pile. Actually, I don't usually write on them where it is. I'm very bad at that. Eel Pie Island. Yeah, that's near me. Nope, not those. Against trouble. Lots of portrait work. That one wasn't too bad. Do I have a favourite artist? I really like the work of Paul Klee. A lot of my abstract work is not based off, but kind of inspired by Paul Klee. And when I was a child, I used to draw on my parents' computer. You'd have the lined green computer paper, and I used to draw these little symbols. And then when I saw Paul Klee's drawings, I was like, that's like mine. So yeah, Paul Klee, Paul Nash, especially his photography, but also some of his paintings, their own wall paintings, are great. Picasso was an inspiration, definitely. Yeah, but mostly them, and Van Gogh as well. My pet, certainly this work is this work is definitely Van Gogh, Van Gogh. Like, I like using very thick paint. I was never fond of kind of doing kind of very sort of glazed layers in oil painting. I was always about colour and working very thickly. Yeah, that's more from the session I was talking about with the someone dressed as a Joker. It was quite weird. It was weird, that session. Yeah, that's more my abstract work. I've got lots of my abstract work. Like that. Yep, it's that way around. But yeah, I really enjoyed. That's what I was wondering whether to do. If I do a drawing, it would be something in this style, because it's something I enjoy doing. But most people don't get it because it's not representational. But each of the things have a meaning to me, or they create meaning after a while. It's like you create symbols, and then the symbols, as you draw them, you learn what they are. And so it might seem sort of random what they are, but they're not. You know, there is kind of like sort of meanings with some of these symbols, and I can sometimes tell what state I'm in, just what kind of mental state I am by what I draw and how I draw it, and what kind of symbols I'm using. Because as say, initially I don't know what they mean, and then as I draw them, I think about them, and then I realise what they mean, and they quite often refer to my life or how I'm feeling. You get a lot of arrows and cross circles. Cross circles is a negative thing. I love to draw a lot of spheres. And yeah, I like my Martin Parr's photography. I was a photographer for a long time, not professionally, but I did a lot of photography, and I did Sitting Guilds level 2. I was working at City and Guilds level 3, so I used to do printing and developing our own film, colour printing, and all that sort of mechanical film stuff, and also studio photography. Thank you, Aknud. Wonder where the big one is. This is what I created for a friend of mine, because I wanted to show my friend Molly what I do. So this is kind of more the finished pieces, the watercolour pieces. So it's kind of a bit of a portfolio, really. I did this for my partner. He asked me to paint the apple blossom outside. It was a commission, actually. He paid me for it. And obviously when he died, it came back to me. But yeah, that painting means a lot to me. And there he is. That's during COVID. That is him sitting on a bench during COVID. Again, it's one of those paintings that is not for sale, because it means so much to me. Because during COVID, I was sitting on the bank. This is the main sort of river bank. And there are lots of benches. And I was sitting back from everyone, kind of maintaining distance and drawing the river, but not. Because if I sat on a bench drawing, people would come to me, and I didn't want that to happen. Thank you, ES. I didn't want that to happen, so I would actually sit away from everyone. And I think I can do that one, because you're seeing her from the back, but that's some live painting. I used to do a lot of I used to call these Rorschach. These are the Rorschach series, which is very loose, almost like Rorschach block tests. Very hard to do because it just quite often would, you had to kind of work with the water and it pooling and keep it flat until it dried. I quite often had to wait for it to dry, and at the end of the session sometimes leave it there and come back next week. Yep. Not Tim. She's fine. You can just see the back of her. Oop. Yes, more. You can't really see that, can you? More. That's in Home Park in London. The Long Water. There's the daffodils next to the Long Water. And yes, this is kind of what I can do. This is probably, I think it was done for Inktober, I think. That's a life study of apples. If I choose to be very, very, it's still quite loose, but if I can choose to be quite realistic if I want to be. But most of the time I'm more interested in something a bit more loose. Thank you, Yojinbox. You have a brilliantly wide range of styles, worth the sub. And thank you for all the nice comments about my work. It's that's in Bushy Park. It's always, yeah, it's fun with this. It's me. I think that was during lockdown. That was definitely during lockdown. Hence the mask. And yeah, I think that's the more Inktober work. That's Fabriano paper, some loose sketching, and then watercolour. And that's horse chestnuts and leaves. This is one of the pieces that almost has got bought a few times. It's called Mute Bay. I mentioned about doing the Jurassic Coast and those the drawings. That's from that series. This has been trained by AI. AI has taken this. I found this in the AI model, the Lion 5B that Midjourney uses and Stable Diffusion uses. So I was a bit annoyed because it's like I couldn't get my work sold, and then AI was training off it. I was fascinated with this tree. It's called I call it the hollow tree. It's in Bushy Park, and it's been hit by lightning. It's hollow, but it's still living, and it's very much a sort of metaphor for me. I think I did an oil painting of this as well. Fortunately, oil paintings are somewhere else. I don't know where. That is Corfe Castle. Again, like all my work done from life, I don't work from photographs. I've tried working from photographs. I tried it in lockdown. I really don't like doing. And I loved a lot of working in white on black. I like working in reverses. Again, that's watercolor and fountain pen. That's carbone pencil. That's the he's fine. He's got a leaf. YouTube toss, don't cancel me. He's got a fig leaf. That is one of the John Bacon sculptures of the River Thames, the Father Thames. John Bacon was a 18th century artist who worked in what's called Code stone, which was invented by a woman, Emily Code, I think, spelled Coade. And they're like, for a long time, the ingredients of Code stone was lost, and they didn't even know how to fix it. So that's why some of these sculptures are in a real mess. I think they've worked it out now, but literally it was very recently. For hundreds of years, it was like a secret, but it was a lost secret, so no one knew how she made them, because she made this kind of a bit like concrete, but it was a sort of a moldable stone, but much longer lasting than concrete. But it does mean these sculptures are hard to repair, hence why he's losing an arm. That's on Jurassic Coast, and that is, yeah, that's a good one. That's brush, pen, and watercolor, and that is in Bushy Park. Just a random dead tree. I did a lot of dead tree paintings. That is Box Hill Fort. I was fascinated by the graffiti. They've cleaned a lot of the graffiti off now. And that is near me. It's a pumping station. It's a Victorian pumping station. And I was fascinated by graffiti and old buildings. Did a whole series of them. That's more my kind of like realistic pen work. I used to do a lot of work with technical pens. That's with technical pen. And more abstract kind of. I think that's during lockdown. I think that was actually from a photograph. I like the random background. And again, that's one of the few times I've worked from a photograph. That was for a friend of mine. He wanted a record cover for a mashup remix he'd done, and so I did. On one of my other YouTube channel has a live action of this being painted. I don't link to my other YouTube channel because it's got lots of mashup videos and copyright stuff on it, but it's at Tim Bear Cub, and you can find. I think I did a painting. Yes, I did a painting of this. I think it's yeah. I might be on his channel, but I think it's on my channel. But it was from a black and white drawing, so I invented the colour, and I gave him an eye patch because it's meant to be a young Slick Rick. Yeah, I think the problem with my work is it's probably it's got too much of a range. You know, the way things work is they want to sell you in a certain way. They want you to stay in a certain lane and stay in a certain style, and I just can't do that. I can come back to things and work in a certain way, but I get really bored just staying in one thing. Whereas the art market is very much about, oh, we're going to put you in one, a bit like YouTube algorithms. Yeah, I mean, I like the range of things, you know, but I was very much and it's quite fashionable now to have multimedia artists that work in, you know, multi-genre, multimedia, multi-thing. It became fashionable a few years ago, but it didn't used to be. But I've always been like that since my degree. I used to work in sculpture and video installation. So, you know, and then I got into photography, and then I got back into traditional work. And it's like I get really bored with staying in one style because I just don't, you know, I can do the more traditional styles like this, but I also don't want to stay there all the time. You know, it's like you're just expected to, you know, just kind of constantly work like this if you want to be in this world. And I like jumping between different media, mixed media. I like mixing up media. I like working with, in the past, video and photography. I like, you know, doing different things. I'm not really into, but I also feel quite strongly about traditional work because it seems to be a dying art, to be quite traditional, and you know, to do more realistic work. It's in the modern art scene. It's very much about being postmodern and ironic and camp or kitsch or something. And that's why I didn't really want to go into the art world when I left my degree. When I completed my degree, I didn't leave it. So I actually graduated, but I didn't really want to be part of that world. because it didn't really reflect what I wanted to do. It was all about being ironic and conceptual at that point, and being a brand like Damien Hirst. That's more dead trees. That's I'm not sure. I am not sure. Oh, I know what that is. That is, oh my goodness, another children's thing. That's Faber-Castell do these very big chunky pencils for children, and that's what that is. They're water soluble. Woody pencils. They're called woody pencils. They're kids' pencils, and I love working with them because they're so black and they dissolve really well. The colours are not so great for doing that, but the black does it really well. So I did a lot of work in that, and I like working in children's stuff, children's paints, children's paint sticks, woody pencils, things like that. It's media you're not supposed to be working with professionally, because it's it's like play, but also things like that work really well. And the other artists use these woody pencils. I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone at all. It's I learned that from another artist. That's one of the. I have to say the portraits. I struggle with quite a lot of the portraits now, because I don't think I was as good at portraiture than I liked. I struggled with the form. It's quite difficult to do people, but these ones I like. That's ink and brush on watercolour paper. And I can show you that one as well, because you can't see anything. More life work. A friend of mine really likes this one, or the chestnuts one. These are mushrooms, again painted. The chestnuts one was a live piece, so obviously it was done indoors, but this is actually done there and then. And I think the park closed while I was trying to do it, actually. The home park closes at dusk, and I remember doing that and then having to rush out of there, being told off for being there late. I used to work in the snow as well. The reason why I've got these merino base layers isn't actually for hiking. Originally it was because I used to sit and paint in the snow. More woody pencils. More of the Rorschach series. Hopefully that's too abstract that they're not going to have a go at me. It's all art. It's art. It's not porn. And those are the trees that are near me. Another one of the paint stick pieces. That is, I think it's Nihal. I think I used to follow along and do the Portrait Artist of the Year. During COVID, they would actually have these virtual sessions, and that's one of those. I really like working with. Oh no, that's Posca. That is not paint sticks. That's Posca. I like working with Posca as well. Posca, big chunky Posca was my thing. So how many? Yes. How long have we been going? Oh wow. We've been going. Hello everyone. We've been going an hour. Wow. I think I might, call that a day and maybe do another stream with, because seriously, I can show you. We saw some of those, and actually no, we didn't see any of those. This was all the stuff I've got, and that is what I showed. And there's other things as well. Yeah, so I have a lot of pieces, and I have a lot of artwork. I have literally portfolios 3 or 4 A2 portfolios and about 3 or 4, or maybe 5, 3 or 4 full, maybe 5 full A3 ones. So yeah, I've got, actually no, I think I've got more than that. I think I've got about 4 A1 or. So I've got a lot of work, and yeah, I don't think I'm gonna. I will draw on stream. I think I will try and do that, but not tonight. I think that's a bit. Otherwise, it'll be a really long stream if I try and do that. And I think it's a fun one, but but yeah, thanks everyone for coming along. The comments really help because I need to build that confidence back up again, because it's you know, I really was doing this video for showing my hiking channel, what I do, but you know, it's nice to have some new people in as well. So thank you everyone who's new to my channel. I'm planning to do more streams like this. As I say, maybe even go out and do some drawing and live stream it. So, but it's going to take me a while to get back into it because of it's just been a long time to. I haven't drawn since July last year. My partner died in August, and so yeah, it's going to be not an easy thing for me to get back into. I'm a bit like when I first drew the first time in 26 years. You don't totally forget the skill, but it does take you a while to get back into it. It does take you a while to kind of like relearn and re-find out where you are. So it will take me a while. But yeah, my channel is usually about hiking. But as I say, I want to do more. I want to bring the art back into it, because art was originally, the idea was art hiking with drawing was actually the original idea for the channel. So if I can do that on the live streams at least, that will be good, and maybe then I'll possibly get back into doing it for the hikes as well. But I think it'd be quite interesting to sort of stream some of the nearer locations near me, like the river, and do a drawing and see how that goes. Thank you, Sid. Please do. You were a great artist. But yeah, a friend of mine said once that the biggest issue with me is I don't have any confidence, and it's true. So it's kind of come and gone over the years, and I do miss it in a way. I don't miss it, because it got to be a job for me, and it got to be something I was doing every day, and I would go out and draw every day and paint every day, and it's a good thing to do, but once you're kind of forcing yourself to do that, it becomes like work, and I don't know, it's something I need to fall back into love again with, and that is a harder thing to do, I think, is to, once an artist has lost confidence in their work, it's very sad, and it's also very hard for it to, so it's going to be baby steps. If on the next stream I do some drawings, which I'm planning to do in the next stream, or maybe the next stream, maybe the one after, it's going to be something really abstract and like almost like doodles, and that's what it's going to start off as, and then I'll see how I feel about doing something more realistic, maybe a still life, and then build up from there. I think that's going to way it's going to work, because at the moment it's kind of trying to avoid that pressure on myself, really. So, and in my artwork, because the problem was I'd get more and more annoyed with myself when I'd be hiking. The work wasn't as good as it was locally, or kind of that I could spend more time on, because of the conditions of, like, I'm in the middle of nowhere, I'm having to find a place to camp, I'm trying to do something quickly, I'm trying to get somewhere at a certain point. It's not really conducive to stopping and drawing for like 3 hours. when I did, because I was slightly out of practice, I got more annoyed with myself, and it's sort of it's very easy to trip yourself up like that. So anyway, thanks for everyone for coming, and thanks for all the nice comments, and don't forget to like this video and hearts as well, and all that sort of stuff really helps the channel, and also subscribe if you want to see more of my artwork and see more of my me actually drawing, hopefully. Good night.